order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if I can please have a roll call.
Supervisor Alex Zapian.
Here.
Trustee Jean Morelli.
Here.
Trustee Karen Johnson.
Here.
Trustee Deanne Wright.
Here.
Trustee Ron Alberico.
Here.
Highway Commissioner Jim Louch.
Here.
Collector Jessica Kennedy, absent. Attorney Gary Mueller.
Present.
And Assessor Marion Williamson. Here.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us. Today's a special day. We have a first item on the agenda, and that's to award these scholarships to our scholarship winners today. If we could just please give them and their parents a big round of applause. So every year, the township, one of the ways in which we like to invest in our future and in our youth is by awarding scholarships. Now, historically, we hand out, four what we call just Lockport Township Government College Scholarship, super fancy name, I know. And this year we handed out four, and then we also had an inaugural scholarship, another fancy name, the Lockport Township Military Family College Scholarship. So for 5 scholarships total. This year was actually the most competitive year we've had, I think, in well over a decade. So everyone here, parents and the recipients should be especially proud this year because it was very competitive. The decisions were definitely not easy, but overall the board was very happy to select the winners. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to the podium and I'm going to read some summaries of each of the recipients. I'm going to start off by calling their name, but then after I read the actual little summary, what I'll do is I'll have the student go up, present them the reward, and then the clerk will take a quick little picture if that's okay. So, head over here. Alright, so in no particular order, the first recipient of our Lockport Township Government College Scholarship is to Ms. Avery Colella. Ms. Avery, we wish you the best of luck as you pursue a career in aeronautics. And the board here, when we read your application, we're all impressed with everything you were involved with. You were involved in wrestling, National Honor Society, the Student Advisory Council, or at the high school, just to name a few. And in particular, one thing that we noticed in your application was the way in which you would take any opportunity presented to you. And for that, we believe you'll be very successful. So congratulations. All right, next we have Mr. Caden Nomenson. Mr. Nomenson, we wish you the best of luck as you work towards a career in music education at U of I, which my cousin is going to, so hopefully you'll meet her. We were very impressed with your leadership skills and your support for your peers. In particular, we like your eagerness to learn from others, which leads us to believe you'll also be very successful in future endeavors. Congratulations. Next on the list, from Romeoville, I'm from Romeoville, is Ms. Melanie Ortiz. We wish you the best of luck as you pursue your degree in finance. We were very impressed with your commitment to all that you were involved in. Badminton, MSA, LASO, or LASO, just to name a few. And so in particular, we like your eagerness to further your education. And again, we believe you'll be very successful. Congratulations. Next is Ms. Julia Urbano. We wish you the best of luck as you pursue a medical degree, and we admire your ability to overcome challenges and grow from those experiences. Your can-do attitude leads us to believe you will achieve great things. Congratulations. So that includes our, again, Lockport Township Government College Scholarships. This year, we did have an additional scholarship that we're proud to present. So for the regular college scholarships, one of the things that we focus on is the students' commitment to their community, which is something that we very much prioritize at the township. For the military family scholarship, not only were we looking for someone that prioritizes their community, but someone who does show a genuine appreciation for veterans and also members of active duty. And so for that, our recipient, our first recipient for the first year is for Ms. Mia DiGiovanni. Ms. DiGiovanni, we wish you the best of luck as you pursue a degree in healthcare. We are very impressed with your dedication to care for others, and we admire how your heart shows through in all your achievements, and we believe this will lead you to great success. Congratulations. All right, parents, again, and students, thank you so much again for coming. Very much appreciate it. If we can give them one more round of applause. Just a quick reminder for those students that haven't yet, but once you do have some time in the next couple of weeks, you could please email the office the information for your college that we can send over to Jeff. Again, we wish you the best of luck. Please reach out if you can ever help. Again, this is a public meeting, so you're more than welcome to stay for the 2-hour debate. But if you'd like to enjoy the rest of your evening, you can. So thank you again for coming out.
Thank you.
That's my way around. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks again, everyone. I'm going to go on to business. Before I do go on to the second item on the agenda, I do want to congratulate a few new members to the board. I want to start off by congratulating now trustee Ron Alberico and give him a nice welcome back to the board. Very much looking forward to working with you.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with this board.
And then, of course, a big welcome to our newest board member and new trustee, Gian Wright. Again, we're all excited to work with you. Okay, so for folks that have seen the agenda in previous meetings, you'll notice this agenda looks a little bit different than in the past. What I did is I consolidated the town senior GA meeting to just one big agenda. My hope is this will make things a little bit more efficient and save us a little bit of time. So what we're going to do is for the approval of minutes, did anyone have any questions for any of the sets of minutes for town senior or GA?
I did wonder about the tables that you bought for town. Is that for the?
For the senior expo. In the past, we have about half the tables and then we rent half from the park district. And so it's becoming increasingly challenging to coordinate with the park district, and a lot of their tables are a little bit more beat up. So now that we have extra space in the garage, we decided to buy the remaining tables, so now we have the full tables.
How many households?
It's 50 tables. Yep. Any other questions on either town, senior, or GA? Okay, so that was, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for, entertain a motion to approve all sets of minutes, so minutes for town, senior, and GA for the monthly meeting of May 13th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Karen Johnson.
I'll second.
I have a second by Dean Morelli. Any final questions on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to bills. Again, I have 3 sets of bills this month. One is for town in the amount of $149,294.93. For senior, I have $18,576.27. And finally, for GA, I have $11,229.02. Does anyone have any questions on any of the sets of bills? Okay. Well, if there are no questions or objections, what I'm going to propose is we entertain or make a motion to approve all 3 sets of bills.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
a second by Dean Morelli. Madam Clerk, can I please have a roll call?
Sapien.
Yes.
Morelli.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Alberico.
Yes.
Wright. Yes.
Motion carries. Do we have any public comments tonight? Here, seeing none, we'll move on to reports. Madam Clerk, the floor is yours.
Okay, I've given you each a packet that has some detailed information. So make sure you reference all of it, please. Once the meeting's over, I'm not going to go through it all, but just highlight some of the important parts later in my report. We've been very busy. The 5th Annual Community Fund Day was a terrific event. Thank you to all that helped in making it a success. We had a fantastic turnout, 57 participants and vendors, making it our biggest community fun day yet. I reserved next year's date of Saturday, May 16th, 2026, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the 6th Annual Community Fun Day. Please mark your calendars. I've completed my required 3-hour notary public training through the state, and I've passed my test for my renewal. Notary services have been numerous and on a daily basis. We have had over 100 notaries in the past month between my deputy clerk and myself. FOIA requests have been weekly as well. Additionally, our diaper drive saw over 45 families come in for diaper bundles in this last month. I would like to welcome the new board. I've also included the additional pages in that report that I was talking about. I would like to remind everyone of a few things. As a board member starting a new term, you are required to complete the Open Meetings Act training no later than the 90th day after taking the oath of office. Once you complete this, your certificate of completion must be filed with the clerk's office. Number 2, please be sure to contact me. Either send me a text, that's usually the best way, email or phone call if you will be absent from a meeting or if you need to attend electronically. If it's last minute, definitely you're going to have to text me because I don't check my email right before a meeting. If you need to attend a meeting electronically, you must meet the requirements for electronic participation. You can see the additional pages in there. I've also included a copy of that resolution that updates that participation. To restate above, please note that if a trustee or elected official wishes to attend a meeting by other means, he or she must notify the township clerk or deputy clerk if I'm not available before the meeting, unless advance notice is impractical. Also, please reach out to the clerk's office if you will be absent. Lastly, I've included our township's 2025 monthly meeting schedule. Some of you already have it, but there it is in the completeness. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Move on to the assessor's report. Assessor Williamson.
Thank you. The 2025 assessment books close for the township level this Friday, June 13th. So that means any changes to assessed value at my level, any changes I make, have to be complete and handed into the county by Friday. I'm anticipating after that a county multiplier for 2025 of between 6 and 7%. The county supervisor of assessments will mail notices of revised assessments. They're scheduled to be mailed on August 6th, 2025. So any parcels in the township that have an assessment change at my level, that's who will be notified. If I didn't make the change at my level, that won't trigger a notice for August 6th. The Will County Supervisor of Assessments will hold an exemption event here at the township offices on Monday, June 16th, so next Monday between 10 and 2. The event is staffed by employees of the SA's office and is open to all residents and is for the purpose of filing exemption paperwork, so annual renewal paperwork. If you've already been to my office or if you've attended a different event, then you should be up to date for your 2025 exemptions. And this event is not just for Lockport Township residents. One of the reasons the supervisor of assessments chooses to hold one here is because we're kind of centrally located. So, you know, it's available for residents of Homer Township, New Lenox Township, Lockport. So that'll be this Monday from 10 to 2. It's Will County, yes. Yeah, it's, most people tend to go to the office nearest to them.
Right,
Okay. So I wouldn't anticipate seeing someone from
But
a
if
little
they do
further
ask.
out, but they,
Okay.
if they ask, yes, it's open to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
And then the assessor's office will be closed to the public from June 30th through September 11th, 2025. Will reopen on Monday the 14th. This gives us a chance in the office to catch up on housekeeping items, field staff inspections and pictures. We're going to have some staff education meetings and prepare for the Will County Board of Review season. It also allows some of my staff who have multiple vacation weeks to use their time without looming deadlines. Because the assessors follow the property tax cycle, which is kind of different from other township offices, we have really strict deadlines that just don't change. Whether we like it or not, they don't change. And so there are times when it can be difficult for employees with longevity to use all the vacation time they have. So this is an opportunity for us to catch up in the office without, the interruption of in and out traffic. It's the slowest time of the year for the office in terms of people coming into the office, which is why it's a good time to kind of close out what we've done and prepare for the Board of Review season. And I will have notices on the doors of the building, and then there'll also be a notice on my website. I'll have that go up soon about the closure. And that's everything I have tonight.
Did you say?
I did hear September, so that's still September.
I'm sorry. You know what?
Yeah.
It's-
June 30th.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, I was like, hold the fort.
Yes.
This year.
You extended it. It's July 11th. I think because I saw the 11, it kind of
11.
threw me off.
So,
July
June
11th.
30th
Through July 11th.
to July 11th, reopen on 14th.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize.
I was like, how would she fit? Wow.
September is going along.
Thank you.
I'm new here, but
All right.
All right. Well, thank you. Move on to our other reports. The building report. I know I did individually speak with each of the trustees leading up to this meeting, just to give a quick little bit of update regarding the expansion of the parking lot and also building a potential wetland in the back, or a detention pond in the back to take care of the big wetland we do have on the property. Sent an email over to the Will Group, which is the group that's doing the engineering work for us. They did acknowledge my email recently. They were, our point of contact was on vacation. They're going to, get to work. The next action item is to, get some more engineering specs and then meet with the city. I did ask him a few questions. I think one of the notable questions that the board members had was regarding the size of the pond. So he mentioned that the size of the pond in the drawing was set to its maximum level because we had set the parking lot to the maximum level. Obviously, the less we expand the parking lot, the smaller the pond becomes. Having said that, if the idea was that we'd expand the parking lot all the way to the back, on the west side, but keep the north as it is, the pond can be smaller, but if in some future we would like to build something on the north side, we'd have to increase the size of the pond anyways. That's all I have for now, but as I receive more updates, keep everyone moved in. Any questions on that? All right, we move on to the mental health report. All right, so everyone should have this in their packet, but it's this little packet, this invoice. It says ThriveWorks up on the top right. So for folks not familiar, this ThriveWorks, for short, is the Community Mental Health Project. We have in partnership with the Lockport Township Fire District that we approved a little over a year and a half ago. Okay, so this is the invoice that we've received. This is the invoice I received for every month that I shared with the board. As you can see, we did have quite a number of people use sessions in the month of May. The total invoice for this month, and again, I want to reiterate that this is being paid out of GA funds. The total invoice was for almost $13,500. We still have a remaining ramp balance. We'll likely have to transfer in July. I've been in discussions with the fire department and ThriveWorks about potentially renewing the contract. So I'll send an email to the attorney, work with the attorney to get an IGA set up for potential board approval in July. Any questions on the report?
Well, I wonder, because it said that there's 5,000 left in that account, well, do we need
Yes, we
to
need some
approve that
funds.
before then?
We will need to transfer, or what we've done is when it does go in the negatives, we pay off the balance because we already have a set amount allocated in the budget. We're not quite past the budget line item, we're at about
So
100,000.
you can transfer.
Right.
some more.
The amount that we transferred for this, and frankly, I'm surprised we have a little bit left over. We transferred the beginning of the year until the end of the term, which was like middle of May. And so this is left over from that, but we still have plenty of, in the actual budget for this specific project. So,
And have we gotten any updates about if the state is still going to do the countywide thing on that?
no updates, and I actually just spoke with the fire chief briefly today. It's the same old thing I've heard since last August. Well, we're waiting to get assigned a grant manager, and the grant manager said they'd get to me next week. Well, that was in August. So the hope is that eventually, you know, when this becomes a countywide program, that we would then get reimbursed for what we have, you know, paid so far. But like I mentioned before, I want to be a bit more realistic, just from our experience working with Springfield, as much as we love them. Whenever we do receive any sort of grants, especially capital grants, it takes almost 2 years to get the funds, right? Like, I think it's, I think the commissioner and I literally just received a check for $250 last month for a project that we started on when I first started my first month of office. So that was 2 years ago. So that is why, you know, we passed the resolution so we can fund this program at GA, which is very healthy. But if in some future we do get reimbursed, great. But if not, we have plenty enough to keep going, or at the very least to reconsider year by year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is this a average payment kind of am I to expect this every month?
Yeah, so they've,
I wrap my head around it.
no, that's good. And they've steadily increased. So we officially launched this program in January of '24. So initially, I think the first 3 months, it was very little. And it wasn't until we put it in the newsletter in the spring that it really kicked off. So for a while, it was at 5, then 8, but for the past several months, it's averaged out to 11 to 13,000, and it's slightly gone up. Now, we used to have jumps from like 5 to 8 and then 12,000. Now it's gone up 500 a month, but it's pretty steady. It's pretty steady. I think we've more or less plateaued.
Just kind of like wrap my head around it. But
Yeah, that's a good question, but yeah, I'd expect, they also do cycle a little bit, like I think we've seen our bigger bills around winter time, like the holidays. Summer, I think summer is generally like the final.
Alex, I know there are obviously other townships that are doing the same thing. I mean, Joliet, right? Is it Plainfield?
Yes, so this program originally started with Joliet Township, and then it expanded to Lockport Township, and then after Lockport Township, almost immediately after, it was to the entire city of Joliet. So now it's the city of Joliet plus Joliet Township, Lockport Township, Plainfield Township followed almost immediately after, and then in the past few months, Troy Township has joined. So we have a good amount of townships, and now we're in, I'd say, beginning conversations to include Homer Township, just because currently there's about half of Lockport that doesn't get food services, and sometimes we do get calls from the other side of Lockport that is interested.
Right. So those are the contributors to the driveways, right? I mean,
Correct.
there's nothing like the fire department doesn't really contribute other than just running it, or how
Sure.
that works?
So each township does it a little bit differently. Like Plainfield Township, they actually have someone on their staff who takes these calls. Like, they decided to up staff, but they're the ones funding it. Joliet Township, City of Joliet, they're the ones funding it, and their operation is run through the Joliet Fire District. Again, they have a very large program for that, and they actually received a grant for their staff to take on the calls. And then for Lockport Township Fire District, as soon as this board approved this program, they then had approval to hire someone to fully work on this program and receive their calls. So the officers that we had here, I think it was about like 3 months ago, at the time it was Piper, and now it's Officer Gertzig that I work with. She's the one that's on this full-time working on this, but they contribute with staffing, and then we, as a township, contribute to the paying of the invoices. moving on to senior bus reports. I have this other report right here, just a big, really colorful graph. So this is a quick little diagram of just how our buses are doing in terms of trips. So you'll see that in the month of May, we offered 531 trips. So that's not round trips, but that's, one trip. The bus was operational for the full 21 business days for the month of May. That averages out about 25.3, which is a little bit higher than average. But for the year 2025, if we look at Exhibit C, so the bar graph below, you'll see that we're averaging about 528 rides per month. The average last month was 524, so we're steadily increasing. If you look at the percentages, in 2019, the numbers we have on file show that we were giving about 632 rides per month. So we call that like 100%, right? In 2024, we made about 80%, and 25, we've gone up to almost 84%. So we're continuing to steadily increase. And on that note, again, we do currently still have our full buses. We have our 2 new ones that we bought several months ago, last summer, and we have 2 of the older buses. We're, as I've spoken to the members of the board individually, I am in conversations with the Veterans Commission of Will County to see if they'd be interested in receiving one of our older buses as a donation. Right now, at the moment, we're fetching as much information as we can about the older buses. Obviously, for legal reasons, they need to know, any previous work, maintenance, mileage, et cetera, on the buses. But I'll give the board a heads up, and my hope is to have a major update in July. And then finally, I have a report on general assistance. So those 2 reports, one is called grant disbursements, and one is called system activity report. So what these reports are is, I think about almost 2 years ago now, we decided to purchase the software known as Visual GA. And this is a software that was very much advertised at the township officials of Illinois, and that many, especially the majority of the suburban townships, use. And now they've even made a smaller version for smaller townships that have, 1 to 2 cases per month. But this software is extremely helpful. When you give an application to a resident, they come back and they fill it. Well, then you just fill in that information on the software, and then the software does all of the math, determines, is this person eligible? Here are the reasons why or why not. And based on the factors, here's how much money they're going to receive. And so that's very helpful, especially for legal reasons. When we do, unfortunately, have to deny an applicant, we have to very much give reasons and then cite the statutes in the handbook of why we're denying them. So, but that software is also very good at producing reports, which is very helpful. So if we look at the system activity report, at the top it says general assistance. So this month was actually a bit of a slower month. We usually have about 11 applications. This month we had 7. 2 of them at the time were in process, but 5 of them were not eligible for general assistance. General assistance is assistance for the residents with the most lowest income and that are not eligible for other state assistance like SNAP or SNAP or Social Security. So it's very rare that people are approved for general assistance, but of those 5, we go down to emergency assistance at the bottom, and we see 3 of them were not eligible for emergency assistance, but 2 of them were. And of the 2 that were, there was grants given out in the total of $1,700. So now if we look at the next page of grant disbursements, the 2 grants for $1,700 were split up into 4 utility bills. You can see we paid the city of Lockport, ComEd, Nyport Gas, and the village of Romeoville. I know about every 3 months, I as the supervisor of general assistance, to update the guidelines to make sure that income is keeping track of inflation. So I'm a little surprised that this month was a bit slower, but As you can see, we helped with $1,700 worth of assistance. Any questions on the general assistance reports? All right, we'll move on now. I have no old business. For new business, I did want to bring up the newsletter. So we have a newsletter we mail out on a quarterly basis. The summer newsletter was approved about a week and a half ago, so I anticipate it being in people's mailboxes. I'd say probably end of this week or early next week. So keep an eye out for that. The food pantry, again, I spoke individually with board members, but long story short, the fish food pantry, the members of senior management are planning on retiring, and we were exploring the possibility of integrating the fish food pantry into the township, so it will no longer be a third party, but something under our direct supervision. I did speak with the attorney, and we did discuss that there's a strong possibility we could do that. There were obviously, again, for legal reasons, some questions that I received from the attorney that I then passed on to the food pantry, and so I'm anticipating those answers later this week. All right, move on to approvals. We have 2 approvals for the night. The first one is regarding the TOI conference in November, from November 10th to 12th. This is something we do every year. What I think we'll do is, if anyone is interested in attending the TOI conference, if you could please email our administrator, and we'll take a head count from there. But generally what we do is we just approve up to 12 members, and then usually I think almost always we've had less. Then we only buy, if only 3 people want to go, then we only buy 3 tickets. But hotel and travel are included. If I could entertain a motion to approve registration, lodging, and transportation for up to 12 members to attend the annual TOI conference.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
a second by Dean Morelli. Any final questions? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please have a roll call.
Wright? Alberico?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Morelli?
Yes.
Sapien?
Yes. All right. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, moving on now to support for Romerville events. So again, these are the same events we approved last year. Now, generally speaking, we usually approve them month by month, but we are a little, just because of the beginning of the term, we're a little bit behind schedule, but that's okay. I figured it'd be easiest if we just approved all 3 at once. But for, again, generally speaking, we have about $7,000 that we attribute to Crest Hill, Lockport, and Romerville. For the city of Lockport, we did last month approve $6,000 for their car show and the Christmas show, their Christmas event. There's usually another winter event we sponsor for about $500 to $1,000 that they'll send out later this year. And then for Romerville, there's the 3 events we did last year. But that's the Hispanic Heritage Fair that's in September, that'll show up here. As we can see, the reason I put $750 is that's the amount where we can have a table there. The trunk or treat, well, that one is actually extremely fun. I highly recommend the board to attend that. For nonprofits, it's only $100, but essentially you go, you decorate a vehicle, and then the Romerville Village actually provides candy that you then hand out to trick-or-treaters. There's easily like 2,000 people there. Like when I was there it was just nonstop for 3 hours. But if anyone would like to attend, and then finally, for Winter Wonderland, last year we actually did 4,000. I upped it to 5,000 only because last year in the spring we did an Easter event that we didn't do this year because again it was happening between transitions. So I upped it to 5,000 to account for that, but also because then that would put us at the threshold of the marketing table there. It is going to be a bit cold, but if approved, I'll be there, and again, the board is always welcome. Any questions on any of these? No? All right, well, hearing none, if I could entertain a motion to support the Village of Romerville with the following events: $750 for Hispanic Heritage Celebration, $100 for Trunk or Treat, and $5,000 for Winter Wonderland.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Ronald Rico. Madam Clerk, could I please have a roll call?
Johnson?
Yes.
Alberico?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Zapian.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on. This is the final part of this meeting. I have a list of the past events as well. I took the liberty of including the current full calendar of all the upcoming events till the end of the year. I did that for reference to all of our board members. Again, these are all events that everyone is more than welcome to attend. You know, for the past events that we did just have the funding that the clerk hosted, went great. The expo was last week, you know, thanks to everyone that helped out, especially Ron and Dean with the parking lot situation. I know it was raining. And then, of course, the parade on Friday. It was a little bit warmer than usual. For upcoming events, again, we have quite a few events, and this is not including potential events that we may approve. The one I do want to highlight, though, is we're having an event next Tuesday here in the community room on the 17th. So the Army Corps of Engineers, the township, we've been working with Will County Land Use and as well as Congresswoman Underwood, and we're looking at receiving potentially a grant from the federal government to do a thorough and comprehensive, you know, project in Fairmount. And it would include, you know, drainage, sidewalks, roads. Now that is a long-term project. The first step was getting an actual survey from engineers that plots all of the flooding in Fairmont. And so for that, we have the Army Corps of Engineers, and thankfully we received a grant, so the township isn't paying a dime. So the Army Corps, they're presenting the first set of results next Tuesday. And we've invited the community because what they're presenting is according to their study where they think the flooding is. But of course, for residents that experience it when it rains, they may disagree, or maybe they want to add the area of flooding that the engineers didn't catch. So that's again next Tuesday from 5 to 6:15. Board members are invited. Obviously, quick disclosure, then that if any board members do go, we're there to listen. We can't discuss any business as to not violate the Open Meetings Act, but again, you're more than welcome to attend just to learn. Other than that, I have no other business. Do we have any final comments from the board? All right, then if I could entertain a motion to adjourn the Lockport Township regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Ronald Rico. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned. We'll now move on to the Road and Bridge Fund meeting. For Road and Bridge, the first item on this agenda is for the approval of minutes for the monthly meeting of April 13, 2025. Can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Karen Johnson,
I'll second.
second by Dean Morelli. Any questions on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to bills. I have bills in the amount of $85,425.81. I will need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Karen Johnson,
Second.
second by Dean Morelli. Any questions on the bills? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could I please have a roll call?
Zapian.
Yes.
Morelli,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Alberico,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Do we have any citizens wishing to address the board tonight in regards to the Road and Bridge Fund?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I didn't know.
I'm
Hi.
actually gonna put my report and citizens to the rest of the board here too.
Oh, perfect.
Yes, so my name is Rizwan, R-I-Z-W-A-N, last name Moin, M-O-I-N, but I go by Riz or Ritz, whichever is easier to pronounce. Good evening, my name is Rizwan, as I said, I'm here to kind of plead my case and hopefully convince you all to get on board and approve with Mr. James. I bought a property last year, January. It's a residential property in Lockport. As a young individual, this was my opportunity to really invest and move forward with my life and, you know, do wonders. Apparently, it didn't go as planned. I purchased this property January of last year. Did the closing, went through the proper channels. I had attorneys involved, Old County Land Use Department was involved. After the purchase, when I rehabbed the property, put it on the market, found out that a portion of my property is encroaching, which was missed by land use, Will County Land Use Department during the initial closing of my property. So I reached out to Will County Land Use Department regarding that issue, because due to their reasoning, I can't sell or I can't refinance. Since then, I've been going back and forth with them. In the end, they told me I gotta go to Lockport Highway Commission, to ask for, vacate or what can they do, just because that portion of that land where my property encroaches, is for future development for the road or whatnot, or either use. So I reached out to Mr. James, and he's been very helpful. He's been communicating with me since last year. So at this point, what I'm asking is, or we have a resolution between the two departments, Old County Land Use and Highway Commission, where they both are on board to vacate 10 foot, if I'm not mistaken, off that land, so that encroachment can be basically, doesn't become an issue no more for me, and I can move on with the property, whether to refinance or sell the property. As of now, it's just sitting in Lockport since last year, and I'm facing difficulties, as you can imagine, with the financial and mental stress and whatnot. So all I ask is you all is to consider this appeal of mine, and hopefully you'll approve it, so Mr. James can sign off on it and it can move on.
So normally, when I have vacating roads, and when I first got on board here, and I worked on a couple projects, and we just went for vacating roads. But in this case, we have a platted road. The road doesn't actually exist, just on the plat. The house has been built. How it got built, I don't know why, how permits got issued, but it's there. So anything we do in the future, or anything the future holds for that road, there'd be a house on it anyway. So to me, it makes sense to just move ahead and vacate. So he's had the engineering firm in Will County suggested how much to vacate, and pretty much that's where we are. And I have no issue with moving forward to vacate that property. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention.
So does Yale Street dead end at that house's property?
It is, there's nothing behind it.
There's nothing.
No.
There's residential behind my house, so I mean, there's nothing.
There's nothing there, and,
There's no roads or anything.
What's the address of the property?
It's 2238 Arthur Avenue.
so if you go around that community center and head south, that turns in Arthur there, right?
Correct.
Yale, right, what's platted is Yale. And, that house was built, and, how it got built, I don't know, but it did. And so I'm in favor of, helping this gentleman along by vacating the property, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
So there's a process to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's done that yet or not, but that includes publishing in the newspaper, giving written notice to people within, I apologize, I mean, it's like 250 feet from the outside boundary of that. All of the owners are on there, because you are allowing one resident to then be able to take advantage of something that, if it was actually built, would be to the benefit of surrounding it. So there's a process, and you can certainly, absolutely, if that's something you want to do, that's absolutely within your purview.
We're
There's a process.
I'm aware of that process, and to date, he's paid everything out of his own pocket.
Okay.
Engineering and whatnot.
Right.
So, we haven't quite reached that point yet.
Okay.
But I did want to bring it to everybody's attention, because it's kind of funny to give away, vacate property anyway.
So what are the dimensions, like, is it 10 or 20 feet by 50?
It would be where his house is 10 foot
10 feet
10 foot.
of the easement, and then for how long?
Well, I can't remember exactly.
It's
The length of the house plus a little.
Right,
Yeah.
The size of your lot, basically, so
Yeah.
pretty much.
But do you know what the length of the lot is?
Ma'am, I don't remember the top of my head, but it's on the survey.
Let's see if we got it in the
Yeah, it's
email
cut
here.
off.
I don't, but I can probably do that.
I might be able to find it for you.
I guess if I had the whole illustration, it would have,
There's nothing up before that.
Typically, the process is solely within the commissioner's purview. If he decides that he would like to do that, he's going to do it. But that's what I'm saying, to make it easier on the commissioner, usually that procedure is followed so that they don't have, like a survey before and after the publication, to notice all the surrounding landowners so that they know that this is being done, which absolutely, whatever the commissioner decides he wants to do, he can do. But that's usually why you have to do it that way, is just to make sure that somebody else out there doesn't come in and go, hey, wait a minute.
yeah,
Yeah, there's one of like the other half of it, across, from wherever's behind him, for example, or next to him, or whatever, that owner may say, well, then I'll take half of what the road should have been to, or whatever. It's just a way of making sure that your benevolence doesn't become a problem for you. Because you can do whatever you want.
but I will move forward and keep you up to date on where we are.
Sounds good. Thank you for the update. And you said that also includes your report for tonight?
Yes.
Excellent. Do we have any other business or any other final questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, if I could,
Do you want the dimensions? Sure. On the Will County Supervisor of Assessments website, it shows it as 50 feet by 132. The 50 feet is on our third end, and then 132 feet deep.
So it'd be 10 feet by 132 feet that we're giving up.
It's my job.
okay. Thank you. If I could entertain a motion to adjourn the Road and Bridge Fund meeting? So moved. A motion by Ronald Rico, second by Karen Johnson. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.